What news? So SCOTUS decided right before taking a summer break that they would take on the case of the Christian baker from Colorado being sued for declining to make a cake for a gay couple wedding. Now, of course, we have to wait until September before they actually hear the case, but we should all be on the edge of our seats in anticipation of what may come of the Supreme Court case. Personally, I'm actually pretty nervous, and here's why. Because I have noticed that for quite a while now, especially in the last 30 years, our nation has become very derailed from moral and legal arguments as well as from religious influence. In fact, lately it has become very hostile towards religious conscience and irrespective towards our First Amendment, the very first right outlined in the First Amendment, which is the freedom of religious expression. So I'm not sure what that case is going to turn out to be, but I want to discuss with you some of my own thoughts about where we are as a nation when it comes to our moral and religious sensibilities.
Can you hear it? Do you feel it? Call away from home. Call away from home.
So for the last 20 years or so, there has been this sort of tug and pull, this tug of war going on, and that has been between the religious conscience of people and government power. Now, many of us, we truly believe that government is a very good and important thing, and especially many of us also think that our constitutional government is a fantastic system. But we also believe that our religion is extremely important as well. We don't believe it is something that we should or can so easily disregard. But the competition, the tug of war has been that you kind of have to choose one or the other. That either you choose your religious side, which now if you try to do so, you are labeled a bigot, or you choose to go with what those who are controlling the government say you should do. And additionally, they also try to make it so that there is some sort of moral irrelevancy, meaning that the government says that this is the right thing to do, but your religion is against it. Your religion ought to be irrelevant. It doesn't apply. But really, the real problem that's happening is that government is essentially trying to replace the role of our religious institutions. And here's what I mean. You have in religion, you generally have a higher power, and that higher power lays down laws, commandments, if you normally call them, and we are able to establish principles by which we should then live in we should then live our lives. We should choose certain behaviors and act in such a moral way so that we are in alignment, so that we are obedient to our religious conscience, our religious faith. Now, government is competing with that because government is now stepping into those areas where our consciences, whether you are religious or not, your conscience is guiding you to make the decisions that you feel are morally correct for yourself. And government is trying to become the highest moral authority to decide what is morally right and wrong in every aspect, rather than staying away from all these personalized aspects and focusing on more of those areas that government is supposed to be involved in. Meaning government was really only supposed to be there to help protect us from harm, from people harming us and violating our rights, and also to keep us safe from enemies. Now, that's a pretty simple outline, and the Constitution was made originally that way. However, we are not living in such a world anymore. We are now in a time where government really invades our lives. And honestly, more morality in government should apply to those things in which people violate our rights, such as, don't kill, don't steal. Government really should protect us there. But when it comes to making decisions that we feel are personal, and I'm going to go to what I was saying in the beginning about the Colorado baker, a Colorado baker, a Christian baker, who refused to make a cake for a gay couple wedding, and that's because for him, marriage, and I'm assuming this is the reason why, because I'm religious too, that for him, marriage is something that is sacred. It's something that is a religious, has religious significance, and religious custom, and that as a Christian, that is only between a man and a woman. And so to support any other form of a wedding, even through making a cake with your business, would be something that is irrespectful of his own religion, is something that he should not do because it goes against his religious conscience. Not that he has enmity towards those people, just that he chooses not to participate in that way. And that's totally fine. However, government says, has often said in many ways, especially in these sort of cases, that no, you have no right to do so, and you have to make the cake anyways, and here's a hefty fine, and essentially your business is gone. But the thing is, someone's business is their own property, and as long as they are not violating the rights of others, and trust me, it is not your right to have a wedding cake. That is not a right. That is not a human right. That is a privilege, and there are many other cake stores out there that are willing to provide you a cake. But more importantly, going back to religious conscience and how government is competing, government is trying to act like the highest moral authority, now determining for us what is right and what is wrong in all these different aspects, when really only our higher power can be that highest moral authority. Only that, and the reason why so many people like progressives love government, not that they love the Constitution, but they love to be in government power and they want to use it, they want to manipulate it, it's because government for them is their God, and they love it as their God because they can manipulate it. It is a changeable God. It can change to what they morph it into, which then puts everyone else at a disadvantage if you disagree with them, if you are against them. But here's the truth. Government and religion should go hand in hand. And I don't mean a theocracy or anything like that. What I mean is government, especially our government, the way it's set up, it is a government that is by the people and for the people of the people. Because it is so much based upon the people, the government can only continue to act in a moral way, in a way that respects all of our rights, especially our right to live according to our conscience. It can only continue to do so if the people are able to maintain a certain level of morality, where meaning that we understand and expect of each other that it is right to live peacefully with one another and to respect each other's opinions, and it is wrong to try to force others to do something that is against their moral conscience, to force them to do something with their property, or to force them really to do anything out of force, as long as they are not breaking laws that violate rights and harm property or what have you. Then really we have that open field to live as we please. And religion has been the teacher, has been the educator of the people, of the public, on the principles that help us recognize what is right and what is wrong. One major principle that we are all very aware of in America is that all men are created equal. All men are created equal. Think about that. That is something that we love and we advocate for like crazy. And I mean, from the very beginning, from the very foundation of our government, in the Declaration of Independence, it says we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their power by their creator with certain unalienable rights. That is a religious principle, a religious concept that was used to found this nation. It is used to found the laws because of that principle alone, we've been able to shape America to become the most freest, the most equitable nation in the world, where people do have equal rights, where we do have the opportunity to live as we please. So, without religious without religious principle in there to help us establish what is right and what is wrong, to help us maintain that. Because without those religious principles, like all men are created equal, all mankind are equal, then people start to get away with harming each other, with doing things that destroy their free speech, that suppress their free speech, and we're already seeing this today. Like, that religion has become such a outcast in the whole scheme of politics, where they say that it is irrelevant because some people don't believe religiously. Well, you know what? Some people don't also do not believe in such a non-religious manner, and we do have to find a way to communicate. However, we don't have to condescend to one point of view, because that is the equivalent of forcing America to condescend to only create policies and to politic around one religious point of view. That would be saying that the state religion is now Catholicism, and that we all now have to debate our arguments and everything with that sort of language, with that sort of rhetoric. But we're not, we're not a nation that has a state religion. Religion definitely plays a role, but here is what we have to understand, is that religion is really our system of beliefs. That's all it really is. It is our system of beliefs by which we live our lives. That means people who aren't even religious, yes, they have a religion. What is it? Well, it's whatever their beliefs are within them. And who is their higher power? Well, their higher power perhaps could be themselves, or it's a tree, or it's the universe, or it's the flying spaghetti monster. Who knows? But religious conscience, be able to live according to your own belief. That's all religion is your belief system. But having actual organized religion in there, such as Christianity, helping us establish those principles, then our laws continue to maintain equity. It continues to be fair. Also, our behavior towards one another continues to be more civil. And so, as I was trying to say, as religion has become more suppressed and ignored, we see even the most basic and fundamental religious principle that America has cherished and pretends to cherish today, that all men are created equal, we see that being thrown out the window by the way in which people are suppressing each other's freedom of speech. And we see this by people announcing that, there is hate speech, and hate speech is something that we must stop, we must prevent. The truth is, when you go into things like hate speech, that is all relative. There's no real constructible moral concept behind it, because it is all based on someone's feelings. It is all based on someone's feelings. When something is completely based on their feelings, then you have no foundation by which everyone can rely upon, which everyone can create a sense of fair and equal rules and good behavior towards one another. If something like hate speech, honestly, if someone says something that you're offended by, and you can just label it hate speech and then say you have to stop that sort of thing because it is harmful. Or even you take the next step and you say that it leads to violence. Well, that's your opinion. And it's great that you have an opinion, and maybe you have to recognize that maybe there are people out there who do not feel the same way. And maybe you saying that speech is bad is harmful towards them, towards their feelings. And so that is hate speech. So we should then suppress that. It's just a spiral downwards towards the ground, towards crash landing and just obliterating everything that we have spent over 200 years creating. America is a fantastic place. Yes, we have our issues, but we have to recognize that we have been so abundantly blessed by the freedoms and privileges granted to us by our Constitution and by the back-breaking work of those who came before us. And if we become so caught up in our own sense of of righteousness, because we feel that, you know, we are so much more superior, and that we can judge the past based on our corrupt sense of morality now, and that we should make all these changes in which we really don't recognize that we are destroying what we have. If we continue down this path, then honestly, there's not going to be anything left, and that is my concern. We have this Supreme Court case coming up, and in September, and I honestly don't know what to expect. I feel like I cannot truly trust the government anymore to make the right decisions. The government has become so, like I said before, so intruding in our personal lives, is trying to act like religion, is trying to establish for everyone in essentially every aspect of their lives what is right and what is wrong, and it will deal out its own form of justice upon them. We're in that state that I don't know anymore. I mean, I've never trusted government very highly before, but I'm in such a place now that it's not reliable anymore. What do we do? Honestly, what do we do anymore when the government is so involved in our lives and doesn't give us the space to breathe and to decide for ourselves? When it is trying to tell us how we should live our lives in every aspect, we have to know that and recognize that our feelings cannot be the basis of our moral construct. That morality cannot exist merely by feelings alone, because that will destroy justice for everyone else. Because morality has to exist on a grand scale. National morality has to exist, and when we become so relative by basing things upon our feelings, what will happen, and what is happening already, is that there will be those who take control of the power in government, and they will establish what that national morality is, and it will be supposedly based upon emotions and feelings. And that means they will be able to say that anything, any sort of actions, any sort of policy, any sort of behavior that you perform in your own life that they find disagreeable, they will be able to take legal action against you. They'll be able to force you to stop. They'll be able to constrain you from living the life that you feel is the best life for yourself. We're already seeing this. We're already headed down this path, and that's what worries me. That's why I have so little faith in what the Supreme Court is going to decide. I mean, they may surprise us and make the right decision, which is to allow people to make their own moral decisions. Honestly, we're heading down this path, this road that is quite sticky, and we're gonna make a big mess of ourselves if we continue to go this way. But we have to remember, this is the last thing, that we need religious influence in all of this. We need religion to be more involved in communities. We need it to have a greater say in what is going on, because it allows us, organized religion is teaching us how to act morally. It's teaching us the principles on which we should establish morality upon. And without it, we are going to continue to get the results we are already seeing, that we are already dissatisfied with. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and live free till next time.